ESPN Plus, I'm Dan Thomas, joined by Craig Burley. And look who's back. A little horse, it must be saying.
A little horse?
How's your voice, Shaka?
Why does it have to be said?
Well, I think it certainly will be noticed. The level of partying high, I imagine, over the last 3 weeks.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Don Hutchison, we talk about the game. I don't know if we did.
I wasn't in that meeting because I want no part of that.
But it's very difficult to say much about it, isn't it?
Well, no, what I would say...
They got the job done.
Well, off the back of their capitulation in the Europa League, they got to get back on the bike and start riding again. They got which Nicol sneered at yesterday when you says, you know, they're only with a game in hand in the league. If they won it, it'd be 2 points off Man United and Wolves. So I think it's for, you know, not for Stevie, but, you know, in general, just for people out there that don't think they can put a run of results together, it's up to them that they can show it. Going to Shaka's old club, Portsmouth, you know, FA Cup 5th round, difficult game. Make some changes, and I thought in the end it was a very professional performance, particularly in the second half. And really, that's all you can do as a Premier League team going to a lower league club. Listen,
we've all played in games like this, and it simply is a no-win situation for a Premier League club. You go there, you win, as Arsenal do, you expect it to. And at the same time, it's a potential banana skin. Listen, given the kind of frailties we've seen from Arsenal, you wondered if they'd get the job done. And then the longer this game went on, you just wondered if Portsmouth did have a little bit of a surprise in them. Not a great team, Pompey, but once Socrates got that goal just before half-time, I thought very professional performance from Arsenal, one that was needed.
Don, overall, if Arsenal go on to win this competition, would you say that it's a successful season for them?
I think so, especially for Arteta, who's been through the door a matter of months. If he can pull off a trophy in his first, half a season, I think would be a tremendous job. I'm not sure they've got the capabilities to go on and win the competition unless they get really lucky in the draw. I think there's loads of stronger teams, more so than Arsenal. I think he wants to improve the league form. I was looking at their fixtures before, and he's got a good run of fixtures coming up, Nicol Arteta. I don't think they're good enough to finish in the top 5 if fifth is good enough for a Champions League spot, but the fixtures that they've got are very, very kind until they get towards the latter stage of the season. Then the big fixtures come. So I think a good run, go deep in the competition and try and finish in a European spot, I think would be a decent season for them.
Meanwhile, a game which has got a little more interesting considering what happened to Liverpool against Watford at the weekend. Chelsea taking on Liverpool tomorrow in the FA Cup. Chelsea favourites, actually, to make it through to the quarter-finals. Both teams have had little wobbles of late, which from our point of view is interesting because you would imagine that they'll both go strong for this one.
Well, I'm not sure.
Yeah.
I'm not sure. I actually think, we did something on digital in this earlier, I think Chelsea might have a sneaky chance here, not because Liverpool were very, very poor at the weekend against Watford, which they were, but one, because Chelsea are at home, and two, and I'm only surmising here, that Jurgen Klopp might be just thinking about putting all his eggs in that Champions League basket.
But that's next week, isn't it? You know.
I know, but...
Well, you've got it's not as if Champions League's like the weekend.
Yeah, but
why can't you play your proper team in this, man?
Listen to me. I'm not talking about a player being tired. I'm talking about key players getting injured.
Right.
So it don't matter if the game's next week or in 10 days.
Right.
They can ill afford to lose Mane, Firmino. They've already lost Henderson for the time being. They can't afford to lose anybody else, or Van Dijk. So I wonder whether or not he will make some, not wholesale, but make quite a few changes for this game, thinking, right, Premier League's pretty much in the bag.
Yes.
Champions League.
But surely you need to get your players sharp, playing properly.
Listen, I'm with Craig. I'll fully understand if Jurgen Klopp makes changes.
Why?
Just because and
did I not just explain to him?
Yeah, you listen. Not just the wobble in terms of result against Watford, but even though Liverpool have been winning, some of their performances haven't been that great, as you've spoken about over the last couple of weeks, or so I've heard that you spoke about Liverpool over the last couple of weeks. So you understand if he wants to change things and maybe give some of his key personnel a rest. At the same time, Chelsea, I expect them to go strong. Listen, they have been awful over the last few weeks. Willy Caballero and Kepa, does he give Kepa a run out and maybe figure things out?
No chance.
I think this is a bigger game for Chelsea, and you'll see that both in the lineups and probably the result.
Don?
I totally agree with Shaka. I cannot see Liverpool playing a strong team. I looked at the team that they played against Shrewsbury in the last round, and it was full of teenagers. Harvey Elliott played at 16, Chiravella 18. I think the oldest player was 21. So I can't imagine many of Jurgen Klopp's big hitters playing in this, because, as Craig said before, you pick up an injury now, and even though the Champions League is approximately 10 days away, you've got no chance of recovering.
So you don't play them now. You don't play them against Bournemouth. Surely you need that bit of sharpness, no?
I don't think sharpness. I think they've played enough games. There's enough games in their legs to suggest that they are sharp. I mean, if anything, they might feel a little bit jaded. I thought you saw that in the performance against Watford. So I think he'll go pretty strong against Bournemouth, but even then he can rest a few. They're at home
that doesn't make any sense. Why would you go strong against Bournemouth, which is closer to the Athletic game? And Bournemouth game doesn't matter at all. I don't get it.
Well, it does, because the Premier League's it is because the Premier League's the Holy Grail.
But they've won the Premier League. It's fine.
Well, we know they've won the Premier League, but Jurgen Klopp will still want to get back on the horse. They've lost one game against Watford, and he's quoted in the press today saying good teams don't lose two on the spin. So that suggests to me that, you know, he will play, you know, people like Adam Lallana if he's fit, and one or two others. But I guarantee you it'll be a very, very young side against Chelsea. Then it'll be semi-strong against Bournemouth, and then his full-strength side against Atletico Madrid. It has to be. He can't take any chances. If Mane, Firmino, you know, Van Dijk, Alisson, if any of those pick up injuries in the next couple of games, I mean, you'd have to say the chances of them going through would be slim.
Right, that's three explanations you've had.
I'm not buying any of them.
That's three.
Hey.
Three.
What do you ex-pros know about any of this?
That's three plausible explanations you've had. That he'll make changes against Chelsea, and then he'll make more changes against Bournemouth in the league, and then he'll hope to put his strongest team out against Atletico Madrid. Right? That's not rocket science, right? Just because you want him to go there and play all his best players. I mean, he might do. He might. I mean, I don't think it'll be a poor Liverpool team.
Right.
I don't think we'll look at it and go, wow. Look, I can't believe it. But I think we'll look at it and it'll be very much a hybrid. I'll be surprised if it's not.
Right then, Don, prediction.
I think Chelsea win because, as Shaka said before, at the two sides, the team and the manager that needs the result more, I think it's Frank at home. They've been on a desperate run. I commentated on their game at the weekend against Bournemouth, and they were lucky to get a draw. Phil Billing could have scored a couple of easy chances early on. They would have got beaten the game. So they're not in great form. So I would imagine Frank will go really, really strong. And I think Jurgen goes young, and I think the home side win.
For the reasons I mentioned with Liverpool, with the changes, which I think will come, and Chelsea being at home, and they've played some good stuff at home, I'm going to go for a Chelsea win for that reason.
Chelsea.
Thank you very much, gentlemen. Just a reminder, that will be our main talking point, of course, on the next edition of ESPN FC. We'll be looking back at Liverpool at full strength, thrashing Chelsea. Be sure to join us. And that game you can see live here on ESPN Plus. We'll be here pre-game at 2:30 to look ahead to it, look at the full-strength side that Klopp will name, and we'll be here half-time and full-time as well. There's a Twitter show as well, by the way, social media show on the build-up to that. That starts at 2 o'clock, then 2:30 switch over to Plus. Chelsea against Liverpool then in the FA Cup. Right then, Shaq. I assume being the professional that you are,
Yeah. You cross everything.
Yeah,
everything.
Yeah, everything. You saw yesterday's game between Everton and Manchester United.
Yeah.
No, you didn't. The late goal, obviously, in the end, disallowed.
Yeah.
Offside.
Rightly
From a
so.
goalkeeper stance, yeah, that's where I'm getting to. Right decision.
Rightly so.
Why?
Because offside is adjudged when the ball is struck. And when Calvert-Lewin strikes the ball, Sigurdsson is quite clearly interfering with David.
Gylfi Sigurdsson was lying on the floor, and David De Gea's 6'4", 6'5", and he's staring down over the top of Gylfi Sigurdsson. I'm left none of the wiser how the goal's been chalked off because of what's come out of the referees is the line of vision, line of sight. How, Shaka, can a goalkeeper of your height be looking over a player that's lying on the floor and then still claim your vision was impaired? It doesn't sit right with me.
Listen, I understand your point, but Sigurdsson is right there in his peripheral vision. Who knows if he wasn't there, if David De Gea would then choose to advance off of his line. The fact of the matter is, again, judging it when Calvert-Lewin strikes the ball. You don't know whether David De Gea would have taken that opportunity just to take another step or two towards the player. You don't know if he's in his peripheral vision and just kind of distracting him enough. you have to give the offside there.
You are right in what you say. The deflection doesn't reset the motion of the decision. I've got a massive problem with it. I do still believe the goal should have stood, but I can see where the goalkeepers union, right, and the referees and former referees, the PGMOL, and some pundits that want to make an argument for the decision being correct, will use the line of sight argument. Now, it's not a stupid argument. It is a legitimate argument. I don't agree with it, but it's legitimate. Unlike the Lascelles or another instance where they've just looked like a bunch of idiots.
Sure.
They don't look like that here. It's a subjective, and Gab mentioned it last night. It is a subjective call. The first time he looked at it, I can tell you he looked at it once and said, I'm with De Gea.
What, were you with him yesterday when he was watching all the games in great detail?
Well, he said to me he was walking around, he's been walking around Carnival in Trinidad with an iPad. He said he's missed not a beat.
Don, what did you make of what we saw afterwards? Carlo Ancelotti, of course, sent off for what he said to the referee.
Yeah, I sort of don't mind that. Everyone knows that Ancelotti, he blew his whistle at full time at the Gladys Street end. So there's been so many decisions that have went against Everton at the Gladys Street end. It was all just pandemonium, and it was a bit, very emotional. And I can understand why Ancelotti went onto the pitch to confront the referee because his emotions are high. And I think he was very calm afterwards. And he just said, "Look, he'll take the punishment. It'll probably be a ban. Not a problem." He said, "I'll sit in the stand. I've been there before." And I think Evertonians, like I said, will like that sort of passion in him.
Do we have to get Don's backside into every?
To be honest, I don't know if Ancelotti knows the history of the Gladys Street end or that goal getting off Don's backside.
Don's calling him.
But I want to know what he said to the referee, because I said it yesterday in the show when we were on. It was very headmasterish from the referee. Ancelotti is very much a player's manager, but he's never really been a rant on a raver. He may have. I don't imagine he'd come on. It's
not the referee's fault.
What do you mean?
No, it's not.
He wasn't the one who made the decision, was he?
No, it's not.
No, but what I mean is, unless he's on there effing and blinding and using expletives beyond recognition, I don't see the point of standing there brandishing a red card.
But then why should the referee have to accept that? Another grown man in his face shouting at him about a decision that he didn't make?
The referee has to know. The referee has to know that
a grown man in his face.
He's the face of these decisions, right? He's the first port of call, regardless of where that decision was made, whether it was on the sidelines or in the VAR room. He also has to know that this is an emotional game. And especially with calls like this, you're going to have emotions. You're going to have people saying things to you, whether it's a player or a manager.
Give them at
the same time, you can't just go around brandishing red cards just because you don't like what... You have to be able to accept some of this criticism and some of this emotion.
Think of the children, Shaq. What sort of example is that to the youngsters?
And the red card does what?
What? Well, it says, don't be naughty. Don't use naughty words to the referee.
Okay.
That's very bad.
But it goes back to another point about... I was just looking at that big screen behind us. It goes back to...
Thanks, Greg, for that.
I was going back to another point about the final decision should rest with the referee,
Always,
and then we know where the blame lies, not with John Moss in the VAR booth, making a subjective call. And I think that's the frustration for all the players and pundits, and more importantly, managers.
A lot more about this game, by the way, is discussed on the latest edition of the Gab and Jules podcast, as well as everything that happened in what was a very busy weekend
he's got a hoodie on
across Europe. Be sure to check it out. MLS action continues this weekend. Portland Timbers taking on New Boys and National SC will not go the whole season unbeaten. Of course, Watford breaking that streak at the weekend, beating them convincingly at Vicarage Road by 3-0. Obviously, the star of the show, though, was Ismail Assar. 2 brilliant goals. Wanted his hat-trick as well. Don, I want to start with you. Obviously, Liverpool and that defeat stole all of the headlines, but take nothing away from Sarr's performance. Took his goals beautifully.
Yeah, he put in a real good performance, and that performance from Ismail Assar has been coming. He's took a little while to get going, a record signing, but I think of late, especially over the last 2 or 3 months, he's been really key to how Watford have been playing. When they've played well, when they've won games.
Any league is great for confidence, but it's a little bit of an added one when you're doing it against a team.
Yeah.
When you're running in behind Van Dijk and lobbing the ball over Alisson,
sure,
and the manner in which he did for his second goal, then you're walking about in the dressing room with your chest puffed out. He's very quick. He's big and tall, so he's got the physical side of his game as well, and he showed it at the weekend. He's got a deft touch in front of goal. So, yeah, big future potentially.
Yeah.
Listen, the title of record signing is a heavy one to bear, especially for somebody as young as Ismaila Sarr. And then you don't really adjust as quickly as you would like. And there's a lot of expectation. That hampered by a couple of long layoffs in October and then just a few weeks ago. And now all of a sudden, you almost announce or re-announce yourself to the club with this performance. And I think as good as it was for Watford in a much-needed game, much-needed 3 points, given their own fight, for him individually, I think it is a fantastic platform for him to build on what you hope would be a fantastic rest of his Watford career, because they need him to be every bit as good week in, week out.
Don, it was interesting after the game. He was obviously elated, but the little bit of disappointment as well, because he was angry that Pearson had taken him off because he wanted to get his hat-trick.
Yeah, he probably wouldn't have saw the bigger picture. He would have been caught up, I would imagine, in the emotion of the game. And obviously when you're sitting on a brace and you're young, you're in around 21, was done, then they have to move on and keep his best players fit, which Ismaila Sarr is, ready for that Palace game.
Don, I don't have your goal-scoring record to hand, but were there occasions when you were on a brace and were taken off before you could get the match ball, which obviously you would have done?
I wasn't particularly bothered by goals. They're always nice when they come along. I think I've had a couple of braces in my career, but I was never, in a position. I was more of a midfield player like Craig, played central midfield or, as a 10 or out wide, where I was never really scoring too many hat-tricks, so they never really occupied the forefront of my mind. Yes, it would have been nice to have a match ball, but listen, I think with Ismaila Sarr, I think he's going to have plenty in the future. So I can understand his disappointment. But once I would imagine Nigel Pearson would have put an arm around him and told him the reason why, because he needs him and he's the most important player and he's your best player. I'm pretty sure he would have got on board quickly by the time they play Palace.
Similar to Mbappe at PSG. Now, I'm not comparing the players. I'm comparing the situation where Tuchel took Mbappe off and he wasn't particularly happy. But as Don said, and I stressed this to you the other day, there's a bigger picture here. He's the record signing. He's one of the more talented players. And Nigel Pearson has got absolutely no interest in who gets a hat-trick.
Right.
The only thing Nigel Pearson is interested in is getting points to keep Watford in the Premier League and potentially keep him in a job long term. And so some of these younger players struggle with the concept of it not all being about them. And I think once the manager explains to him that's what it's about, I'm sure he's fine with it. If he's not, then he's got a problem.
Did you have a hat-trick?
Yes.
Did you?
Did I get a hat-trick?
Yeah.
Yeah, I got a hat-trick for Celtic once.
Would you have minded if you were brought off after 2?
No, because I just went to the bar earlier. It's a win-win situation. You've got to look at it that way. You've got to be smart. You've got to be smart, son.
Did you take the match ball home? Did you get everyone to sign it and things?
Oh, I'm not into it.
No.
What's my favourite saying?
Not bothered.
I can't be bothered.
He has it right on his bedside table right now.
I can't be bothered. Listen.
Every night.
It's not about me.
Oh, goodness me.
Do you mind it, Jack, him being brought off?
No, I don't. Listen, I sympathise with Sarr and how he feels. Listen, to get a match ball in any circumstance, a hat-trick on a match ball in any circumstance is a fantastic
Do you ever
accomplishment.
get a match ball? Like, if you had a clean sheet? Like when you had the clean sheet against
Jesus.
Sweden in the World Cup?
No.
Do you get to keep
saying
it
that,
as a goalkeeper?
I wish I did keep one of those balls, because in the World Cup, each game gets its own ball. So they had like Sweden v Trinidad and Tobago, which I didn't realise. I played 90 minutes, I didn't even realise.
So you are bothered?
Yes, I am.
You would be bothered by that.
I'm trying to get a Sweden v Trinidad and Tobago ball right now.
Yeah.
YouTube, the hat-trick.
Yeah, that every night with the ball in his hand.
There's no chance of me getting that ball off for you.
It's next to my goal that I scored against him, albeit in defeat.
Yep. And your teeth.
Anyway,
right, Watford, are they going to be safe?
I think Nigel changed for Real Madrid, but they've also changed for Barcelona. And they've got a game against Napoli coming up at home, where they're favourites to win. Napoli are pretty much, struggling in Serie A, moved up to, I think, 6. And if they're to get put out by them, words like this are going to come back to haunt them.
It's interesting, though, because in a way, the Clasico set the bar so high over the years. When you look at the talent on the show, and obviously there's no Xavi and Iniesta, there's no Figo, Beckham and all that sort of thing. You don't have the superstars, maybe, that you had in the past. And that was kind of exemplified yesterday, wasn't it? In the fact that it was a Clasico, wasn't full of quality.
Well, that's if you're considering Toni Kroos.
Yeah, who's getting on a bit,
Marcelo,
you know?
Varane, Ramos.
You can't put Marcelo in that sentence.
Well, you sat and made an argument with Nicol yesterday about Ramos being world class.
He is world
class.
class.
You've just sat and told me there's no superstars in the game.
But there aren't the same sort of superstars.
Gerard Piqué played in the game.
But is Marcelo at his peak? No. Is Ramos at his peak? No.
Listen, which makes it even worse.
2 years ago, we'd have been talking about this Clasico with as much enthusiasm as we would have in the past, albeit Ronaldo's now moved on.
Yes,
and I
that's
think,
a big factor.
And that is a big factor. And both these squads have largely remained unchanged and have grown just a couple of years older. So maybe it doesn't have that impact that it did, but I still think it's one of the must-see games. This one didn't live up to all the hype because...
Last one didn't, it was 0-0 as well.
Yeah, Messi... And again, as we've said all season long, when he's anything less than superhuman, this Barcelona team is average at absolute best, despite what Gerard Piqué may seem to think. And this isn't the Real Madrid that I think we knew of over the last few years. As a result, it felt a little bit flat to me.
There's no Pepe running around kicking everyone.
Let me see how Pepe runs around.
Like that. 1 point then. Real Madrid are clear at the top of the table with, 12 matches to go in Spain. Eden Hazard, though, will miss a lot of the run-in because he had to undergo ankle surgery. This has not been the signing that he or indeed Real Madrid were hoping for when he made that big move from Chelsea to the Spanish capital. 15 games, struggling with injury, just the 1 goal. How significant is him being out for Real Madrid's title chances?
Not as significant as they would have thought when they signed him because of the reasons that you mentioned. Look, he can't really do much about the injuries, if anything, but what he can do, and I think people at Madrid will have taken note of this, is not gloat about going away in the summer and putting on a pile of pounds, right?
Yeah.
And then having to come back and shake it all off. That was fine back in the day when none of us had schedules to keep to during the summer, and you did take 2 months off. Well, the game has changed, and players are expected by the money they get paid and by the profile they keep to keep themselves in a reasonable shape during the summer, to be in better shape when pre-season starts, so as you're not chasing your tail. And when you start chasing your tail, that's when injuries happen, right? Now, I know some of them might come down to tackling, but that's how injuries happen. When you're chasing your fitness all the time. So dare I say, for the outlay that they've had, they will expect from now on a bit more professionalism from Eden Hazard.
Look, you can come back from your off-season as fit as you like and still suffer just as many injuries and miss as much time. But to come back in the shape that he did doesn't help his cause, given how this season has played out. But to your question, Dan, in terms of their title chances, certainly in La Liga, quite clearly, it's their title to lose. I think Vinicius Jr., as exciting as he is, he's not the finisher that Eden Hazard is or can be at his absolute best. But I certainly think, in terms of the league, he is more than capable of filling that void left by Hazard.
Be sure to join us on Extra Time today over on the YouTube channel. There's one subject that dominates, Shaka.
What's that?
Carnival.
Why?
I'm not. Why are you so angry at the cake? It's getting a bit old now, cake, isn't it?
No, I mean, it is running a bit thin, this.
What's that, birthday?
Well, every time it's somebody's birthday, somebody brings a cake in, it's like...
You were excited when you got your cake.
We're not 5 and 6 year olds.
No, but it's still nice to celebrate, to have a bit of cake.
You celebrate when you get your 50s.
Why would you?
I'm celebrating. I'm loving this. I'm loving my cake.
You get angry about cake.
Want some cake?
Well, I don't eat cake, so I'm not fussed.
Nice a cake?
No.
You do want some
Stick
cake?
it.
Yeah, you do.
No, but I just think, it's somebody's birthday, let's bring a cake.
I would've cut some
Originality, zero.
Oh, OK. What would you want?
No, this is good. Look, this is very original.
Tell you what I want.
Look at that. Let me tip it up.
I want no cake, crack
Look at
on,
that.
finish.
Oh, beautiful.
Very
That's nice. Of course, because
That's
Shaka
very
did an
original.
internship at NASA.
Yes, back in the day, a long time ago.
Hence you get that.
Correct.
Don's with us. Don, you must be jealous that A, you don't get cake when it's your birthday because you're in London, And also, you're not here to eat this
Look at Craig's face.
I know. It's
Look at Craig's face. He's absolutely fuming.
I know.
You can't
Amazing.
be angry
Craig
and eat
is
cake at the
absolutely
same time.
fuming.
Why are you putting that there?
You can't be angry and eat cake. Come on, Craig.
I'm not angry at the cake. I'm angry at the thought process.
Thought process. People being nice.
That you have a birthday? How dare you have a birthday?
Wow.
I heard their boss talking about it the other day. She says, well, your cake didn't really look like you, so I'm gonna... And I thought...
This is awesome. What different layers as well? Chocolate, vanilla, sponge. Lovely, right.
Oh, look at that.
Did you hear that? So,
What?
Our boss was telling me about the cake the other day.
Who was?
Our boss, I'm not mentioning any names.
Right. Well, I know who that is.
And he was telling me about the cake because my cake didn't quite look right, so they were going to do it. And I was like, I'm really not interested.
Right, okay, good. Well, thanks for bringing everybody down. Boom Shakalaka, welcome back.
It's not original.
Please don't ask Shaka.
No more cakes. See, I'm sick of them.
Please don't ask Shaka any questions about Carnival. What happens at Carnival stays at Carnival. Is that right, Shaq?
That is very true.
Nobody sent me any pictures, by the way.
Because whatever happens at Carnival stays at Carnival.
Someone said oh!
Yes.
What's this, though, Shaq?
That's one time I was photographed. Well,
Wow, that's sad.
Parading with my feathers.
Wow,
My towel dropped a little.
that's his pre-cake, most
Hey, what?
definite.
You've let yourself go, but
Oh, dear, right.
I'm having some.
Right, Craig's eating the cake now. Have your cake and eat it.
Happy. Go on, Craig. It's good cake. It's good cake. You have to admit, it's good cake.
What do you know about cake?
What do you know?
I have one every year.
Who would burn faster in Trinidad, Don or Craig? The
What?
Trinidad
Who
sun.
would burn?
In the
Craig.
sun. Craig?
Yeah,
You
Craig.
think so?
No chance.
No. Oh, hey. What's Don getting angry about?
Don? You want to burn faster, John?
I think I'd beat Craig in a race.
Burn, not a race.
Who would get sunburned?
Who would get
Don.
sunburned?
Oh, sunburned Craig all day long.
There you
Yeah,
go.
that's
All day
Craig.
long. There you go.
That's Craig.
That's because I don't.
That's true.
That's because I wouldn't be lying in the sun with my speedos on.
Yeah.
I'd be under the umbrella like
Yeah.
normal people.
Yeah.
I have a feeling.
Although I heard you bought some Speedos for your upcoming holiday.
No, you didn't.
There's
I
a
was
slight-
winding my daughter up. I sent my daughter a picture of some. No, I'm not going there.
Right, okay.
Oh, I sent her some speedo. No, let's move on.
You sent her a picture of someone in Speedos
Yeah.
saying, buy me some at the mall, yes?
Yeah.
To embarrass her?
Yeah.
I'm sure you don't need Speedos to embarrass her, to be honest.
No.
Just your existence. If a Liverpool loses a
They won't let me
game...
pick her up from school, you know, something.
Well, I wouldn't bother either.
I'm all right taking her in the morning.
She don't want to pick her up.
No, I want some days when she comes back.
Would you?
It's embarrassing.
Right.
Oh, man,
Right. Let's talk about soccer, shall we, before YouTube explodes.
Somebody will complain.
Oh,
They'll say
they will.
they're not analysing the game.
Yes, there'll be a
Then
lot of
somebody
complaints.
else will have to explain.
4
This
minutes
is
in and they haven't
extra
mentioned football once.
Craig just ate the cake, threw the fork down and said, horrible. So nobody but himself.
If Liverpool loses a game, but Shaka's not there to see it, does it count against them in the power rankings?
What? Liverpool lost?
Shaka's power rankings are going to be a bigger list than
The
normal.
next power rankings could be fun, couldn't it?
Exactly.
Barcelona could be top,
Yeah, exactly.
followed by Liverpool.
PSG are up there.
You don't believe how many people were stopping me, asking me, make sure I look after my team in the power rankings.
Really?
I mean, I had a few drinks at the time, so I don't know if that may influence things.
You in a rush.
More.
Don, is Wolves the most underrated team in the Premier League?
Is Wolves the most underrated team in the Premier League?
Is there a parrot in here?
He's thinking, isn't he? That's the old trick.
Yeah, the old trick.
Well, are they underrated because everyone knows about them? So I'd probably say no. I'd probably say Sheffield United are my old club because coming up from the Championship to get anywhere near a European spot, I think they've done phenomenally well.
Well said, Don.
Didn't listen to any of that. Right.
You'll get fight.
No, you didn't, did you?
Be all right.
Is Craig still eating the cake?
Yes,
Oh, yeah.
He's almost finished the
Yeah.
piece that he had that he didn't want.
Those
and
little
said was
bangings,
horrible.
that's
Of course
Craig
he has.
throwing on his fork every single time.
It's over my chin, Don.
Yeah.
Don, if we made a combined 11 of Chelsea and Arsenal, would they finish top 4?
Yes, I think they would instead of.
Chelsea.
Well, Chelsea are top 4 anyway.
Well, you put Aubameyang in there, so he'd get you the goals that they've been sorely missing.
Yeah.
For all the good play. That's one player, sure. There you go. I've answered your question. Well, Don's answered. I've answered. Move on.
Good, I am. I'm really waiting for you to finish.
Man, that cake was good.
Yeah, it was good cake.
It
was nice. Great cake, did it?
That's a lot of cake.
No, I don't hate the cake. I hate the premise behind it.
Right. The nice
And actually,
celebratory
I don't
premise.
really get birthday cakes for really old people. Come on.
Don, what would be worse, Craig as a goalkeeper or Shaka as a midfielder?
What? That's easy.
Oh, wow.
That's an easy answer.
Yeah, Shaka is a midfield player,
No,
definitely.
it's not.
Yeah, I could do it.
Of course it
do
is.
what?
Goalie. I've done it.
I was born a striker, you know. It's an easy adjust for me just to drop back a little bit. I used to play out in college, you know.
Did you, Shaq?
I did.
Do you know what the gloves do wear? Do you know how sticky they are? The goalkeeping gloves.
Right.
You could climb up the Empire State Building wearing them, right?
What difference does that
And how
make?
the hell can they drop the ball? How they bloody stick to them? In the old days, they were wearing like washing gloves. Washing up, they would do slimy things, they would slip into... In fact, they never even had gloves.
Right.
Now,
Now it's
Hislop
Yeah.
could have scaled the Empire. Honestly, you could have done. Wouldn't have fall off.
I've played on a few
Dan,
times.
are you all right there with that cake?
And
Yeah, I'm good, mate.
Dan, are
Thank
you
you.
okay with that cake?
Yeah, it's lovely. Thank you, Don.
It's nice.
Thank you for asking.
Just watching you tucking in.
Nice.
It's beautiful.
Nice.
Beautiful. That's it.
Stars.
Right, we are done. Thank you very much.
You're done.
Welcome back,
I'm
Shaka.
eating more cake. Thank you very much.
Don, can you use golf shafts that are stiff? Yeah.
Yeah.
That's all right, because you're using my clubs if you ever come over. Nicol was talking about it yesterday.
How did we get onto this? I was just saying, you've been in a rush to leave all day, and now I'm saying goodbye, and you start talking about golf shafts.
Well, I'm letting Don know if he ever does come
Right,
across.
send him a text. He's got a phone, I'm sure.
I'll save you some cake, Don.
Goodness
If you ever
me.
come over,
Yeah.
you'll use Craig's
Yeah,
clubs
keep it up your
and you'll
sleeve.
eat some
Which
cake.
one's Uranus there, Shaq?
There you go. Oh, dear. There